Alrighty guys, so quick channel update. I suppose going forward, for those of you that don't know, I'm moving houses, or trying to move houses, and I'm looking for full-time work to sort of facilitate this. So going forward, the stream schedule is going to be a little bit unsteady and unsure. I'll be using the Discord to keep people up to date with that. But I suppose what you're more curious about is what do I have in the works for videos going forward. Okay, so first off will be predictions going forward, and second off will be pretty much the Toxic Rain Pathfinder I'm planning to use as my league start. Okie dokie, so first prediction will be about Summoner. Will it get nerfed? Yes, it probably will. However, it's worth mentioning that Summoner is basically a combination of a bunch of utility skills and gem links that all work together with such great unison and stuff like that, that basically it makes it nearly impossible to nerf because you have to nerf each one of those things individually. However, each and every single one of those skills and utilities and stuff like that probably will see numerical nerfs. So that is true. However, it's worth mentioning that I do believe that there will be certain summoners, particularly Baron and stuff like that, that will receive nerfs as well on top. So like specific summoner builds will probably be taken down a peg or two. Would it still be a good league starter? Absolutely. Was it still going to be strong? Absolutely. Is it probably going to be one of the best this league? It'll probably slowly die out. Like, people are pretty bored of Summoner. It's still going to be strong, but I do believe that Summoner specific versions, will get nerfed a little bit. Second off, would Cast on Crit Ice Nova receive a nerf? No, absolutely not. Reason being, well, one, even though it's popular and stuff like that, it's extremely hard to get it off the ground. It's not really a particularly great league starter. It doesn't work off no gear. It requires a lot of investment, and a lot of the gear won't even exist until over a week into the league, maybe 2 weeks in. And then after that, you have to craft a lot of your own gear and stuff like that. So the chances of them nerfing it is slim to none. Also, it's not really causing any server-side issues, even with all the cast per second and stuff like that. So there's just even less reason for them to actually get rid of it. Like, if there was causing server-side issues, I'd understand them maybe nerfing it. But currently, as it stands, there's literally no problem with it. It's not overpowered. It's quite well balanced. And it's a really, really fun build. And they like fun builds, so... Third prediction, what's the chances of them nerfing my Toxic Rain Pathfinder I'm planning on playing? Also slim to none. So the reason for that is basically, even though this is Bow League, and notoriously after they make something really, really popular like Melee League, then they go nerf Melee. They make a Spell League, then they go nerf Spells, and then I can't even remember what the last one we had was. But anyway, it's just like, bows didn't really succeed this league, you know what I mean? Like, even though they, took off the top end a bunch and supposedly brought up the bottom end and stuff like that, there was no real changes and barely anyone actually played bows. So I believe there's still a lot more work for improvement, not actually nerfing. So going forward, I think that they're just going to take a step back, and they're probably going to receive no nerfs or no buffs or anything like that to bows. They might buff them, if anything, but I do not believe they would nerf them. And Toxic Rain's one of those things where it has basically been untouched for like the longest time. And I hope they've got the video playing in the background right now, but you can probably see it. It works fine on a full link. It's actually a fantastic league starter, and this was tested, this league very literally today. So I'm feeling fairly confident in saying that, going forward, Toxic Rain will probably be fine. It'll be a fantastic league starter. I will have to look at how to push it into the end game and stuff like that, and that will be coming over the next few days. And I will release maybe an actual guide on this, but so far I'm just going to show you what it actually looked like. So I did my first map. I've never played this character before. It took me a while to get to maps. I was testing out a whole bunch of other skills and stuff like that, like I said. And basically, it did a map in about 2 minutes 30 or something like that, including the boss. No dramas. Like, absolutely none. It might be a little bit squishy, but like, maybe if I show the POV or something like that, you'll know that in the end, this is going to have a lot of health. Like, a lot of EHP, and it's going to have a lot more damage than the average Toxic Rain character, especially if I can get my hands on certain pieces of gear. So that'll be really, really fun going forward. Yeah. I don't think it'll receive any nerfs. So what about overall league starters? What ones would I recommend? Poet's Pen VD, Guardian Herald of Agony, Toxic Rain Pathfinder I'm going to play, Stormbrand Inquisitor, Blade Vortex, Ellie Hit. All these things are very, very unlikely to receive a change. Summoner, like I said, they're all going to be the same. If you want, yet again, Orb of Storms leveling is still going to be in. You can definitely progress into Ice Nova. I did it last league, so I know it works for a fact, and the chances of them nerfing it are very, very slim. They've already nerfed it to the point where people don't think it's good anymore, but it was super fast for me anyway. A little bit of a word of caution. There's currently like a lot of hype around Essence Drain right now, so I'm just going to put a little video in the background of me. This is a white Guardian map, at least it should be anyway. I haven't actually made the video yet, so... But this will be a white Guardian, and I'm just going to show you how long it takes. And I'm going to show you my damage, show you the gear a little bit. Like, you've seen this character, it's my min-maxed version I had on standard. Now, obviously, this can be improved now. I can get, a little bit like 40% more damage on this and stuff like that. However, this is the actual damage you're going to be looking at in-game and stuff like that. So, this is just a word of caution. If you think that like this is going to be fun for you, these fights go on forever. Yeah, it's a super safe bosser. It's a great league starter and stuff like that. My criticisms remain the same, where it's just like its single target has not been updated to the new Atlas at all. I would not recommend it. Sorry, that's just my opinion. You can do with that whatever you will. Okie dokie. So this is for people that want to copy my league starter if they want the same idea or anything like that. Like probably seen in the video, you know how it performs and stuff like that in maps. We just got level 68 and stuff like that. Do believe we're no longer capped. No, we are still capped res. That's weird. I thought we would have lost that once we killed Kitava. Anyway, so this is like the scuffed gear and stuff like that. This was like super lucky, by the way. So we just threw one essence at this and got this. It's given us reasonable DPS. It's actually carried us a long way. The only thing that really matters is the attack speed and stuff like that. So just get a 1.5 bow. Nothing special. The 4 links we're using are just literally Toxic Rain, Mirage Archer, Vicious Projectiles, which is the only one I can actually recommend, and Void Manipulation. I have no idea if this is the optimal setup. This is what I used, and I had no dramas going through the campaign and stuff like that. Although I did die a whole bunch, so I'm not a hardcore player. I don't really focus around hardcore. I did go Glass Cannon at the start. So, I'm just going to quickly go over the tree and show you briefly what I did. We go Glass Cannon at the start because, you know, positioning is everything on these builds. So we basically built out this way, went here. We went straight up and got the damage nodes up here. We came straight up again. We went and got this section here. We went up here. We grabbed up all the way up to this lethal assault and projectile speed and stuff like that. We didn't grab this life straight away. Then we went up here. We grabbed growth and decay and stuff like that. And then we went down here. We got Hunter's Gambit and stuff like that. So we just went straight across, grabbed Hunter's Gambit. And then from there, I do believe we went down here. You can pick up Phase Echo when you want. I actually waited till a bit later in the game. I don't know whether I'd do it straight away. You may as well. I don't really think there's any problem with that. Went down here, get this attack speed. This Master Fletcher thing, the one that says 20% increased arrow speed, made Toxic Rain feel hugely different. Then we went and just got the Herbalism and Life. This is when we started actually building out Life. I believe at this point we had our first Ascendancy. You know, then we started going down here, got Primal Spirit and stuff like that because we needed to get our Despair level up. Started getting more attack speed. Got Druidic Ruit, right, or whatever that is. Went down here, got Avatar of the Hunt. We're currently moving out towards Gladiator and stuff like that. Then we went up here, got Written in Blood. We got all these life nodes because this is when we started needing life. Then we got Atrophy and stuff like that. That's pretty much how the build went. Like, got all of our offense stuff as fast as possible, and then we started getting life. And this one was the last one we actually got. And now we're building it towards here. We're going to work our way up towards the Scion Wheel. We actually get a lot of life in this build. We built this tanking and everything. As you've seen in the video, we're not really struggling for damage at this current point in time. All this is done on a 4 link. All this is done with junk gear. I have no idea how to optimize this. So my Herald of Agony and stuff like that is, you know, with my Summon Ice Golem, both have like Lesser Poison and Withering Touch. These are not the correct links. This was literally stuff I threw together with my first time doing this. I had no idea what I'm doing. So if you're copying this, try and optimize it a little bit better. But like what you've seen in the video, what I did. First Ascendancy I grabbed was this. I grabbed it at like level 30 because I needed to catch up on levels and stuff like that before I went and did Act 4 boss, whatever his name is. I can't even remember, Malachi. And then we went and got Nature's Adrenaline second. You can chop and change this all you want. I would recommend getting this Nature's Reprisal first. It seemed really, really good. So basically, you just go Glass Cannon. You shouldn't really have a problem. One thing worth mentioning, in this particular build, in particular for ranges, it is super, super optimal to just worry about positioning. Just going damage is actually fine. Sounds weird, it sounds counterproductive. I wouldn't recommend this to any beginner players. If you're one of those people that struggles with positioning and understanding how not to get hit and stuff like that, wouldn't recommend this as a league start. It is definitely one of those things where it's like, because we're playing softcore, it's fine to go Glass Cannon and die a couple of times here and there. It's not a big issue. And the clear speed we've actually got on this build, actually really, really bonkers in my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think it was going to be as fast as it is, but it is fast. I'm just going to quickly do a map. Oh, not a map, sorry. We did test maps. I managed to get through tier 1 in like 2 minutes, 30 seconds. That's including the boss. Like, the idea is just to hit and run. Like, right there, I was probably staying there too long. We actually use a smoke bomb over like your regular stuff. Like, this is fine. Like, I'm over clicking right now. It should just be run. I should be letting my Mirage Archer do a lot more of the work for me, like this. this is how you're actually meant to run. See how we are actually killing everything right now. But, you know, I'm a scuffed player, so these things happen. I still need to learn how to go better. Why do I actually recommend Mirage Archer? Because it gives you more spore pods. You don't really scale the physical damage on this. You're actually trying to scale the pods and the dot damage on this. And I'll go into that a lot more later. You can do this with literally solo self-found gear. This is all stuff I picked up. I didn't actually have a quiver till like extremely late in the game. I don't even know if projectile speed affects it. I do know that arrow speed definitely made my build feel 1,000 times better. Like just how quickly the pods would go down and hit the ground. This is a massive delay and it feels a little bit clunky at the start. Another thing really worth mentioning is like when you go to start this thing at the start, don't just equip Toxic Rain straight away. You can't even do it anyway until level 12. Just use like your regular shrapnel arrow and stuff like that. Try and get as good a physical bow as you can. Invest and get shrapnel shot with whichever added cold or anything like that you can get. And just try and level with that at the start, because if you don't get a good bow, it's just going to feel really bad. Try and do this maybe all the way up to about level 16 or anything like that until you can pair it and until you've got a 3-link bow. Because Toxic Rain doesn't feel really, really strong straight off the bat. So just wait a little bit before you swap into Toxic Rain. It's definitely worth it once you get it rolling. However, the Act 1 and Act 2 are a little bit iffy on the kind of level of damage. It's not too bad by the time you get to the Act 2 boss, but just know this, your Act 1 and 2 are probably the sort of acts that you want to practice the most. So that's pretty much the tree. We do go for... I actually had a Lapis amulet that you get from the quest reward at the start. I found this one, so we have that instead. And we also went and got intelligence here. That's just... it's up to you whether you really want to invest in that. It's purely just for the despair and stuff like that. We had a pretty well-balanced character. Like, we've got, you know, a decent amount of strength. We've got enough int to level up our gems all the way and a bunch of dex and stuff like that. This is currently what the thing looks like. I have a different tree for my actual like level 100 version of this, which we'll be going for. But it's fundamentally the same. You actually won't be respeccing much. We will go out to the Scion Life Wheel, and we will end up tanky with the same amount of damage that you already seen in the video. Then from there on, it's pretty much just scaling up your gem levels. We'll get an extra 2 links, which will be a bunch more damage. And I honestly don't think we'll have a problem all the way into red maps. Like, as you know, the goal will be get like a 6-link bow of some form. We're just going to then do the +1 essence craft on it or whatever, +2 to bows. That's going to be huge for our damage and stuff like that. And whatever else we get as a bonus on top. Yeah, man. So far, it actually seems to work perfectly fine as a league starter. I do believe, for anyone else that wants to do this version of the build as well, I do recommend stopping in Blood Aqueducts and actually leveling up there. You probably can go through the campaign. I hear a lot of people say that they struggle when they get to maps. I didn't have the same experience, and perhaps that is because I spent a little bit of time farming in the Blood Aqueduct just to make sure that I would have a smooth Kitava. Because you see the Kitava kill, it does take a while. It's kind of sloppy. That's probably my fault. But essentially, we built Glass Cannon all the way up to the end there, and then we spent those last few extra levels that I got in Blood Aqueducts filling out life. Just these ones here, you know what I mean? Like, just this one here, these ones here, this one's here. And that made a huge difference. And, you know, if you stayed there a little bit longer, you'll be getting these ones. More attack speed, more accuracy. Would make the build feel a million times better. Anyway, that's pretty much a summary of how I'm going to be leveling this thing. It's not super detailed. I may make a detailed one in the future. But for anyone that's planning on using this particular build as a league starter as well, and maybe wants to copy me or anything like that, I wouldn't recommend it if you're a beginner player. If you're an intermediate player, or you're going to do a bunch of practice yourself, and you can improve upon this, this build can definitely be done better. I'm sure there's actual Herald of Agni links, which I'm going to look up after this. I'm sure there's an actual setup for auras. I'm using a Purity of Elements, because, you know, that's just what you do when you're trying to push a quick league start and stuff like that. Ignore the portal gem. I just had that as a spare, and I did that because I was trading while I was leveling. But yeah, solo self-found, got this thing to maps, no issues. It took like 1 day of actually, you know, sitting down. I won't show you my playtime because it's also important to mention that whole Act 1, I was testing out all the different bow skills. Like, I wanted to try that new galvanic arrow and stuff like that. I still reckon shrapnel shot or whatever it is probably your best one, the one you sort of get straight away. Worked fine. I really wish I had done that instead of trying to play around with caustic arrow and stuff. Caustic arrow is not great. I know a lot of people hyped about that as well. But essentially, this is what I will be doing. So hopefully that was a little bit quick. I know 90% of this is going to be spent on my league starter. But this is what I'm planning to do go forward. So good luck, guys. Enjoy your league start.